Secrets in St Barts Part 3. Chapter 11, Camille's world collapses. The call came in at 6:42 a.m. Camille was in the pantry, trying to distract herself with something ordinary, checking expiration dates on imported truffle oil and organizing towers of tea tins no guest would ever open. The sun was barely over the horizon. The villa was still wrapped in that soft early morning hush, the calm before another storm. Her phone vibrated once. Then again. Then again. 3 missed calls. All from Sylvie, her agent in Paris. Camille stared at the screen, dread sinking like lead in her stomach. She didn't want to answer. But she already knew, when Sylvie called like this, something was burning. The 4th call, she picked up. Camille. Enfin. Sylvie's voice wasn't angry. It was worse. It was tight. Controlled. Strained. Before you say anything, Camille started, I can explain. Oh, ma chérie, the world has already explained for you. A beat. Then the sigh. Why didn't you tell me you were the woman in the photo? Camille closed her eyes. Because I didn't know someone had taken it. Well, they did. And now every blog, every outlet, every page from here to Monaco is using your face to sell shame. The home wrecker chef. Kitchen Confidential, the mistress in the water. You've got half the internet hating you and the other half bookmarking recipes you never even wrote. Camille sat down slowly on a wooden crate of imported pears. Who's pulled out? She asked quietly. Sylvie didn't pause. Maison Martel. The yacht clients in Nice. The wedding in Provence. Your autumn retreat in Tuscany. Gone. They don't want scandal. They want Michelin stars and clean reputations. I didn't. I know you didn't ask for this, Sylvie snapped. But you handed your career over the moment you handed him your heart. Camille's throat went dry. I'll try damage control, Sylvie continued, softer now. We can issue a statement. Maybe something about misunderstanding, or being misidentified. No, Camille whispered. No lies. You want to tell the truth. I want to survive it. Sylvie exhaled. Then leave the island. Quietly. Before it gets worse. The line went dead. Camille didn't cry. Not yet. She stood and returned to the kitchen. Began slicing heirloom tomatoes for a breakfast they'd never eat. The knife moved mechanically. Her mind spun in loops. Juliet hadn't spoken to her. She hadn't needed to. The headlines did all the talking. Luck had texted her once, we'll fix this. I swear. She didn't answer. Because it wasn't just his world crashing. It was hers. By noon, one of the sous chefs approached her with false sympathy in his eyes. Madame Juliet asked if you'll be preparing lunch today. Camille looked up. I'm not sure, she said flatly, if I'm even employed anymore. He shrugged. She said she's expecting the usual quality, despite your tabloid schedule. The lunch she plated was flawless. Chilled avocado soup with citrus foam. Crab-stuffed squash blossoms. A fig tart that tasted like early autumn in Provence. But Camille served it like a woman on trial, knowing every bite would be dissected, not for flavor, but for failure. By the time dinner service came, Camille was hollow. Her apron felt like armor. Her name, once respected in culinary circles, now belonged to a meme. She pulled her hair back tightly. Tucked in her blouse. Kept her head down. But nothing could silence the voice in her mind. You kissed him. You let it happen. And now, everything you built is gone. The final insult came from the agency. A cold email, buried between invoices and spam. Effective immediately, Camille Durand's contracts are suspended pending internal review. Clients may request replacement talent. Thank you for your understanding. Just like that. She wasn't a chef anymore. She was a headline. Chapter 12, The Ultimatum. The storm finally came. Not in rain, but in fury. By midday, the Delacroix estate buzzed with the kind of silence that only happens when everyone is waiting for someone to fall. Doors closed faster. Voices dropped to whispers. Even the staff moved like ghosts through the halls. The air wasn't still, it was charged. Camille didn't know where Luck had gone. But she knew he wouldn't stay hidden for long. Men like him didn't get to hide, they were summoned. And his summons had arrived that morning. It came in the form of a note. No signature. Just a message, hand-delivered by the head butler. Come to the study. Immediately. Luck had read it once. Then crumpled it in his fist. He didn't need to be told who it was from. The study was carved from dark wood and old power. Oil paintings lined the walls, Delacroix patriarchs in tailored suits and colonial smugness. A heavy mahogany desk sat in the center, larger than life, like it too demanded allegiance. Behind it stood Charles Delacroix, Luck's father. His hair, silver and precise. His suit, a shade too expensive to look effortless. A tumbler of scotch in one hand, a dossier in the other. Calm. Controlled. Until he looked up. His eyes, pale and glacial, were furious. Luck closed the door behind him. Father. You've embarrassed this family, Charles said without preamble. Luck didn't flinch. I kissed someone. The world survived. You didn't kiss someone, Charles snapped. You invited a scandal into my house. Onto my estate. You let a staff member humiliate your fiancé, humiliate me, in front of the global elite. Do you even realize the financial damage you've done? Luck folded his arms. So this is about money. This is about legacy. The word hit the room like a whip crack. Charles stepped around the desk now, the scotch untouched. You were raised to inherit something few men are ever offered. You were handed power. Control. A global brand. And instead, you've chosen, what? He sneered. A kitchen girl with pretty eyes and no discipline. Luck's jaw tightened. Don't talk about her like that. She's nothing, Luck. And you're throwing away everything for her. I'm not throwing it away. I'm choosing. Oh, is that what you call it? Charles laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. Then let me make it simple. You have two options. He raised two fingers. 1. You end it. With Camille. Publicly. Apologize to Juliet. We'll spin it. Call it a miscommunication. A moment of weakness. Luck didn't move. Charles continued. Or 2, you walk away from the Delacroix name. The business. The inheritance. The board seat. Every investment, every contract, every deal in your portfolio, gone. I will remove you from everything. Luck stared at him. You're bluffing. Try me. Silence. Thick. Luck's heart thudded once, hard, deep. But he didn't let it show. She's not a kitchen girl, he said finally, voice low. She's the only real thing in my life. Charles stepped closer. Inches from him now. And she's not enough. Luck's hands clenched. His father's voice dropped to a whisper. You were born to rule, Luck. Don't trade a throne for a passing flame. Luck said nothing. Not yet. But inside him, something was cracking. The weight of legacy. The echo of Camille's kiss. The memory of her eyes in the moonlight. He had been raised to believe that love was weakness. But now, for the first time, weakness tasted like freedom. Outside the study, Camille passed through the corridor on her way to the service stairwell. She heard nothing. But the silence that spilled from behind that door wasn't empty. It was a crossroads. And behind it, Luck was being asked the one question no Delacroix had ever answered honestly. What are you willing to lose, to be truly free? Chapter 13, Lies in Designer Dresses. The villa shimmered with artificial calm. Guests had begun to arrive again, just a trickle. Old money friends of the Delacroix patriarch, fashion world darlings, a magazine editor whose wife wore diamonds the size of cherries. All of them pretending not to know about the scandal, even though Camille could feel their glances in every hallway. And at the center of it all, Juliet. Perfect. Unshakable. Performing. She was a vision of grace in a white backless Balmain dress that kissed the marble with every step. Her hair was pinned in soft waves, her nails gleamed like mother of pearl. On her arm hung Luck, in tailored navy linen and silence. He said nothing. Juliet said everything with her smile. At brunch, she floated from table to table with flute in hand, her voice melodic, her laughter polite. We're so thrilled to have everyone here. Luck and I are stronger than ever, a little drama never hurt a good love story, right? People nodded. Smiled. Pretended. And yet, under the surface, the knives were out. Camille could feel the weight of them from across the lawn, where she worked beside a folding table of plated hors d'oeuvres, arranging trays of tuna tartare with trembling hands. She didn't look toward Luck. He didn't look toward her. But Juliet did. Often. And she was waiting. It happened just after the guests dispersed, their laughter trailing off toward the cliffs and champagne carts. Camille was gathering leftover plates on the shaded patio when she felt it, a shift in the air, a scent of something expensive and dangerous. Juliet. Alone. Still in that impossibly white dress, heels tapping softly on the stone tiles like a ticking clock. Camille turned just in time to see her step into her space, too close for courtesy. Juliet's smile didn't falter. But her voice was ice. You're still here, she said. Camille froze. I'm finishing cleanup. Oh, I wasn't talking about the patio. Her eyes flicked down to Camille's apron. You've made quite the impression. My father-in-law's friends are fascinated. They haven't seen a scandal this juicy since a Russian mistress set fire to a yacht in Cap Ferret. Camille said nothing. She wouldn't give her the satisfaction. But Juliet stepped even closer, her tone shifting, silk over steel. Let me tell you something about Luck, she whispered. He's chaos wrapped in charm. He's been this way since boarding school. Burning bright. Leaving wreckage. But he always comes home. And that home is me. Camille's jaw clenched. Juliet continued, calm and cutting. You think you're the first. He's kissed women in Brazil, in Lake Como, in Milan, but none of them lasted longer than the tan lines. Do you know why? She leaned in, breath warm and poisonous against Camille's cheek. Because in the end, luck doesn't choose fire. He chooses legacy. Camille met her eyes. And what are you, Juliet? Legacy. Juliet smiled, a sharp, exquisite thing. I'm the contract. I'm the merger. I'm the woman his name is already engraved beside in a $500 million trust. You're a romantic intermission. A palate cleanser. Camille blinked, just once. But her hands trembled around the tray. Juliet's voice softened to a near whisper. He will hurt you, Camille. And not because he wants to. But because it's what men like him do. They kiss you under the stars, and then they marry the woman in the front row at the shareholders' meeting. A long pause. Then, he'll never choose you. The sound of her heels echoed as she walked away, cutting across the patio like punctuation. Camille stood still for several long seconds. Long enough for her heart to quiet. Long enough for the truth, or the poison, to sink deep. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. But as she carried the empty trays back to the kitchen, her shoulders were squared. And her chest was a battlefield. Because Juliet hadn't just come to gloat. She'd come to warn her. And part of Camille, the part still raw from the tabloids, the phone call, the contract loss, believed her. Chapter 14, A Secret Rendezvous. The wind had picked up by twilight. It swept across the cliffs in long, restless waves, tussling the palms and stirring the sea into a low growl. The sun dipped behind the hills of St Barts, casting the sky in bruised purples and molten gold, and the air smelled of salt, orchids, and something unspoken. Camille walked barefoot down the narrow path carved into the rocks, guided only by memory and fading light. The cove below wasn't on any map. It was a place luck had shown her on the third night she'd arrived, before any of this had begun, before scandal, before kisses, before secrets. A crescent of white sand hidden between two jagged cliffs, where the ocean curled inward like a secret, and the world above felt impossibly far away. Back then, he'd told her, if I ever disappear, check here first. She never thought she'd actually go. But now, she did. Her bag was already packed. Back at the villa, in the dark corner of her room, zipped shut and waiting. One flight booked. One final dinner shift declined. She hadn't told a soul. But she had left one note, if you want to say goodbye, meet me where the water forgets the shore. And now, she waited. The sky dimmed to velvet. Waves lapped at her toes. And then, footsteps. Loose stones tumbling. A sharp inhale. He was there. Luck. His silhouette filled the path above before he descended, slowly, like he didn't trust the moment. Like it might break if he moved too fast. When he reached the sand, he didn't speak. Camille turned toward the ocean, arms folded around herself like armor. Her hair whipped around her face in the wind. I wasn't sure you'd come, she said quietly. I almost didn't, Luck replied. Then why did you? Because I couldn't lose you without trying. She turned to face him now. His face was tired, not the polished man from the poolside. This Luck was undone, unshaven, his button-down half-tucked, his voice cracked around the edges. He looked like someone who hadn't slept since the world fell apart. Camille shook her head. This was never supposed to be real. But it is, he said, stepping closer. Don't you get that? It's the only real thing in my entire life. She swallowed hard. Your father gave you an ultimatum. Luck nodded. He did. And I haven't answered. She laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so typical. So you came here to say what? Goodbye. Or stall until the choice is easier. I came here, he said, to tell you I love you. Camille froze. The wind dropped for a moment. Everything went still. He took another step, closing the space between them. I love you, Camille, he said again. I love the way you laugh when you burn toast. I love the way you smell like vanilla and fire. I love the way you make this world, my world, feel like it's not made of glass. Tears stung her eyes. Luck's voice cracked. And I know I've hurt you. I know I let them spin lies and didn't stop it fast enough. I know I've failed every test except the one that matters. Which is, I choose you. Camille looked at him, trembling. No legacy. No Juliet. No empire. He exhaled. I'll walk away from all of it. Silence. Then, her voice, soft and wrecked. Don't make promises you'll regret. I won't, he said. Because losing you would be the regret. Camille stepped forward, slowly, until their foreheads touched. Her hands slid into his, their fingers curling with all the hunger and hope they'd been denied. They stood there in the cove, waves brushing their ankles, the sun gone, and the world holding its breath. And when she kissed him, it wasn't desperate. It was final. A choice. That's the end of this part, but trust me, the next one is even more thrilling. We drop fresh episodes every day, so don't miss out. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned, you won't want to miss what's coming next.
Thanks for listening to Billionaire Romance Stories, where love meets luxury in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing your favorite twists and favorite theories. And don't forget to ring that bell, because in this world of yachts, secrets, and luxurious romance, the next story is always one click away.